Well, welcome back, everybody. It's been a minute. Sorry I haven't live streamed more, but the internet sucks at this hotel. So hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear to everybody. And I just want to show off this real quick. I wore this all day today. Got quite a few dirty looks, but nobody flipped me off or anything. So I'm going to wear it tomorrow when I go for a couple hours for the Star Trek Discovery panel, which I wouldn't miss for the world. But there was a lot of fun today, but all the fun had to do with past Star Trek and nothing current. The lack of news from this convention, now we still got a day to go, so that's why I've been kind of holding off on doing a video on the lack of news, but we can certainly talk about the nothing that has happened in the last 3 days as far as announcing current Trek. Now, they did announce some news for Star Trek Discovery and Picard at some Critics Association event in Beverly Hills last Thursday. And they announced everything at San Diego Comic-Con, but they didn't announce a single thing during this convention that I think they maybe some, Nickelodeon stuff or, they haven't really announced anything. You're going to hear people coming in. I'm in a hotel room, so there's people walking in, and that's just going to happen. You can come in. It's Mrs. Nerdrotic. She got her booze on a little bit. That's all right. You're going to be in the camera a little bit. It's okay. They say hi.
Hi.
What's up? There she is. There's our room. Don't show Mr. Nerdrotic Jr. There we go. Hey, I'm in a corner right near the air conditioning, so sorry about you're going to hear the air conditioning noise. So, got to meet Jonathan Delancey today. Meet William Shatner. I don't know. We didn't have very much interaction. It was like cattle. They were just moving people through to take pictures, but it was all Shatner all the time. It was, got an autograph, got a photo, and then Miss Nerdrotic got a photo on the bridge, which I will show all you guys. I got something cool signed. But Kate Mulgrew was talking a little bit. I didn't catch many of the panels because there were kind of nothing panels. They did one with all the doctors, and then they did one with Kate Mulgrew. There was a Picard panel. Patrick Stewart wasn't there that I know of. I didn't hear much about it. The talk on the floor was how there's not as many people there as there was in previous years. The numbers seem to be down. My guess is between 4,000 and 5,000 people. And when you just come from a Comic-Con that had 250,000 outside and inside, it shows the lack of interest. And the average age of your Star Trek fan is 50. It's 50. And most of the cosplaying is of Next Generation and original series. Yes, there was disco uniforms and disco T-shirts, and there seems to be a different sect of fans for disco, but not nearly enough for this show to survive at $10 million an episode or whatever the hell it costs. I don't care. They can throw $50 million in this thing. If Alex Kurtzman has got something to do with it, people aren't happy with this. Even I've had people, I got stopped a lot, and people with disco shirts on shaking my hand going, take it easy on disco, but I know what you mean. I know what you mean. And it's nice to hear. So you're not alone in the fandom with being upset with this show and upset with the direction. Unfortunately, this looks like we're going to get more of the same. There's an article I read today that said Picard is going to be more akin to Discovery than Next Generation. And that was the CEO of CBS saying that. And unfortunately, I can't show you any articles because I'm using just the lame webcam right now, and I'm gonna have something by the time I get back home, so I'll be able to show you stuff. But yeah, disco sucks. It probably, if we wore a disco, I talked about this to Mecca, and she made a pretty good point that it probably wouldn't have been a good idea to wear a disco sucks shirt there. That might have caused a little trouble. But I got pulled aside by an actor from one of the short treks who watched our stuff, and I got more confirmation that people from the show, people from CBS are watching our videos. I say Midnight's Edge, Doomcock, Mecha Random, Rob, Tom, at Midnight's Edge After Dark. So yeah, it's bizarre to hear that. It's weird to see the impact we have had, and I kind of came away that it's positive because it looks like they're trying to make some changes, maybe with Picard, but as long as Kurtzman's involved, sorry, man. I'm going to call it like it is. I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen the guy make anything good. I don't think I'm going to get anything good out of this guy. I've watched every episode of Star Trek Discovery multiple times, unfortunately. And I'm starting to think that the only thing worse than a Star Trek Discovery watching an episode is watching a panel, which I'm going to tomorrow. So, but let's start out with some good news. I don't mean to be a total show off, but Shatner's getting up there in age. All right. I want Shatner to live to 1,000. I want him to be young again. But so he signed Amigo. You can barely see it. I kind of wish he would have signed it here, but he signed it here. So if you see there's a signature. That was cool. And then these are the pictures we got. I think this is the one of me and Shatner that I put on Twitter. There it is. So yeah, there's me and Shat right there. Yeah, best buds, man. BFFs. That's what we are. BFFs. And then, of course, I had to get Q. And so it was Q and Mrs. Nerdrotic on 10 forward. There you go. He's tall, and he was really cool. And he liked Mrs. Nerdrotic's get-up. She was wearing a very 60s get-up there, which was very nice. She had glitter and everything. And then there's Mrs. Nerdrotic and Shatner. There we go. On the bridge. The bridge was brilliant. If you see on my Facebook, I got one of those panorama shots of it. It was really cool to see that in real life. I'd never seen it before in real life. I know it's just a reproduction, but it was so damn cool. And to be on 10 forward. And the more you see these sets, especially when you saw the original series set in real life, I'm like, what do they need to modernize? Of course, there's a few things, modernize the screens, but everything else was beautiful. So, just better than that shiny touchscreen iPad shit that we get in Star Trek Discovery. And again, you really see the disconnect, the just how it doesn't fit at all. It just stands out. It sticks out like a sore thumb at this convention, and the Discovery shit is everywhere. And they're pumping in the damn theme song. And the guy who does the music is pretty good. He worked on Counterpart and stuff. He's decent. He worked on Legion, but God, anything about it, I can't stand. There's a lot of hope on the floor for Picard to be good. I hope it is too. I don't think it's going to be, but I hope it is too. I don't want Patrick Stewart looking bad. That's the last thing I want. And I'm not looking forward to criticizing if that's the case. I mean, like I said, it could be good. I'll try to be as honest as I can, but that will not be fun criticizing something with Patrick Stewart in it. That's not Charlie's Angels. That's not going to be fun. So let's get to the chat. What's up, Tom? Yeah, and then I'm sure Midnight's Edge is going to be reporting a lot of things. We were waiting in line for the Shatner autograph, and for some reason they had it in the main hall. So we listened to this panel. I know I was talking about Kate Mulgrew, and I got off that. I'll get back to that. They had this panel with all the doctors in, and then Wilson Cruz comes in, right? So Wilson Cruz sits down, and then they ask him a question. And correct me, I'm going to paraphrase here, Tom, but you have a better memory than I do. So they asked Wilson Cruz and all the doctors a question like, what makes, your particular Star Trek show unique, distinctive? And they asked Wilson Cruz, and, the first, I knew what his answer was going to be. It's like, what makes Star Trek Discovery distinctive? And of course, he said diversity, not, overarching plot. We have a higher budget where we have a different story structure. It's a superhero origin with Michael Burnham. We have a Mary Sue. No, he talked about diversity because there was no diversity until Star Trek Discovery. Until then, it's been just a misogynist show for patriarchal values. and it should be shunned, basically. Disrespected everybody on that stage, everybody who came before. Certainly, Star Trek Discovery dropped the first F-bomb. Certainly, they had the first gay relationship. Well, gay relationships in a TV show are pretty normal. So I don't see how that's. So they had it's this whole crap that they keep doing of, well, this is the first in our show, but it's still TV. It's still, it's still streaming. These are all, it's not, it doesn't exist outside of television. So we've had gay relationships in television now for 20 years. So how is that groundbreaking? It's not groundbreaking. That's the answer to that question. It's superficial bullshit that they try to hang their hat on because they have nothing else. They have nothing else. There's nothing unique about Star Trek Discovery. It looks like JJ Trek. They borrow plot points from their own people without giving them credit. They borrow things from other genres. We got a superhero story within a time travel story. So we have like Terminator and Iron Man wrapped up into Star Trek, trying to be something else other than Star Trek. And it just shows that Alex Kurtzman doesn't have an original bone in his body. And what else is it? I was talking to Mecca on the floor about this, and Tom and Rob. We were just, I was, and maybe it was Robert Meyer Burnett who brought it up before, because I had heard it somewhere before. I don't know where Logan with Picard, and Picard's I can never remember the syndrome he has, Irematic or whatever it's called, syndrome. Maybe that's caused by the Borg implants, just like in Logan, the adamantium was killing him. So that they just borrow shit. They have the most specialist girl in the world that's going to be in Picard, which you can pluck from any movie from the last 20 years. So let's get to the chat a little bit. That's my monologue. I'm going to pop out the chat here so I can control it. There we go. Am I coming through all right, guys? The internet was just wonky as hell. It took me a half an hour to get this thing going. And I cut a video, and I hated it. So I'm going to have to recut it for tomorrow. It has absolutely nothing to do with Star Trek, believe it or not. All right. And I have to get to that window as well. Give me just a second here. Working on the Surface Pro is not the easiest thing in the world. Shatner was cool. He looked to be in a good mood at the beginning of the day. And I don't know about you, Tom, but by the time he got the autographs, he looked like he was pretty done. He looked like he was pretty done. There we go. Oh, and of course I'm demonetized. How am I demonetized? Oh my God. Well, screw them anyway. There, I'm demonetized. Fuck it. All right, we got that going. That's good. That is ready, and we don't need that window, and we need this window. All right, so let's get to a little chat here. FYI, I send you a message about some super chats. Yes, I have to do a super chat square up probably on Monday, because there's a bunch that I didn't see on the live stream last night. So yeah, I'll do a super on my Nerderotic Nooner on. It depends on it depends if I leave tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to leave tomorrow or Monday. I'm kind of ready to go home, to be honest with you. But I'm going to hit the con a little bit tomorrow, but I might fly out tomorrow night. I don't know if the internet remains this bad. It looks 5x5. Okay, cool. Yeah, but there'll be a super chat square up tomorrow. I've got super chats from both channels I have to do up. So I will do that on a Nooner so everybody gets proper say. Michael Maloney for $10. Lore Reloaded just uploaded a vid with the Hajib style of Starfleet uniform face palm. Yeah, okay. I mean, if they're going to do that, I mean, then let's be cool with everything. It's, that's the thing. It seems like there's reverence for one religion and another religion they want to crap on. Now, my philosophy is you crap on everything and you show reverence to everything. You equal criticism, equal praise. We certainly don't get that in Hollywood. That is the biggest problem right now. And again, I've been pulled aside by a couple people who work within shows who agree with what we're all saying. And it's interesting to hear because they don't feel free to just go, hey, don't you think you're playing a little bit to one side? Don't you think you're alienating half the audience by, I don't know, calling them Nazis, calling them racist? It's the same old, and they're not backing down off that because that's what they think. That's what they actually think. And you know what? That's what they've always thought. They've just, they've held back and they feel like they don't need to anymore. And it's ruining entertainment because you can certainly have your bias. Nobody says you can't. You can have your political views, whatever. But when you're trying to sell a product, and that's what this is, you can call it art, and it's art, but it's not art in its truest sense because it's a damn widget. It's a product, especially when it's a Kurtzman Star Trek. It's not a good widget at that. Chris Wilson, Canadian, $2.79. Kurtzman, the only swap we actually need. Yep. That's one white dude we can do away with as far as his job. Mega Jetty 1 thank you for the 279 Canadian pesos, the Canadian pesos there, Chris. And thank you again, Michael Maloney. Mega Jetty 1 for $2. Hey, dude, want to join my Roadhouse watch party on Wednesday? What time is it? What time is it? Shoot me an email, Gary@nerdrotic.com. I like Roadhouse. I thought I actually like that movie. Matthew Werney for $5. I completely agree about the TOS bridge being great. You should see the Star Trek, the original series set tour in New York someday. It is said by folks I know it to be awesome. Well, I'm going to be, I don't know how close it is to New York City. I will be at New York Comic Con in October. That is confirmed. I will be a member of I will be a trusted member of the press. And I will be rocking this. Thank you, Matthew, for the $5. How do I pronounce this name? It's QZUENTIN. Zuntin? Is that close? How about Watts? I'll just call you by your last name. What's up, Watts? For $1.99. Steals their ideas. We did it first. Pay us. Exactly. We're the first to have a gay relationship on a streaming service that airs on Thursday nights in September at 5:30 p.m. Okay. Great. You are so groundbreaking. I am so moved. You are stunning and brave. Stunning and brave. And brave and stunning. And beautiful. Eric K, $2. Looks like a good time, Gary. Sorry I missed you. I'm sorry I missed you too, Eric. We've had fun, but again, it's about who you attend these things with. So hanging out with Tom and Rob and Mecca in IRL was a blast. And we had a lot of fun at the meetup. I got to see Jeff. I got to meet Jeff. I got to meet Jesse. Got to see Proper Jeremy again. Saw Captain Mary Sue SJW from Pahrump, Nevada, who brought me gifts. And Ryan was there, and we had a lot of people showing up, and it was cool. And it was kind of out of the way. I want to give a shout out to, I'm sorry, Chris. We met Chris on the floor. He's from the UK. He was a really nice guy, and unfortunately, I missed something, which I will do on my next meetup. I promise, because you know what? This is just me not thinking. So Chris is in a wheelchair, and I will announce from now on I will make sure our meetups are wheelchair accessible. Now, Millennium Fandom Bar was, but I'll be sure to mention that. So we will make sure that gets mentioned on every meetup from here on out. Learned a lesson there. So my apologies to Chris. It was great meeting him on the floor. Really cool. And hopefully I see you if I go to Wales. Nick Pruitt for $5. STD is the least diverse Star Trek show in history based on personality and Doug Jones. It's really difficult for me to say anything bad about Doug Jones because that guy is a master at what he does, and he really does try the hardest on this show. And he has the most Star Trek-like character. Now, the makeup looks like a fleshy mushroom a little bit, but he does a good job. He does a really good job with his movements and stuff. I mean, like, you know, come on. Someday, the actors will be honest. Like, I'm forgetting his name now. God, it was the doctor from, I'll look it up. Yeah, Enterprise got some disrespect. I'm going to get the actor's name. Enterprise. He bashed the show. He actually called, John Billingsley. John Billingsley. Disrespected Enterprise a little bit. Said there's episode 5 of season 3 is a show that condoned torture, and he was completely against that. It's, again, let's talk about art. You're presenting art. You're not condoning anything when you present a piece of art. What happens to Sansa at the end of Game of Thrones season 5 is not condoning what happens to Sansa. You are destroying art by limiting yourself. Okay, so are we going to just eradicate violence? We're already eradicating villains, except if they're for white males, and we are having, adventures against circumstances, and we're eradicating violence of any kind towards women. So you are really limiting your art. I mean, it's pretty much going to be a PBS cartoon by the time we're all done. What's that horrible cartoon with the weird bald kid on PBS? The only thing more disturbing than Teletubbies. Although I probably really enjoyed Teletubbies on acid. I'm going to admit that. But, I'll never know. I'll never know. Michael Deveron for Australian $2.99. Oh, it's nighttime, so we're going to get the Australians here. Good day, mate. Thank you for the donation. Can I call you Bruce, Michael? Matthew Werney for $2. The original set tour is 249 miles from New York, New York. So that's like a 4-hour drive if I rent a car. I'm from California, obviously. We drive down the block to go get some milk or whatever, or usually soy milk, not me, but Californians. And yeah, I don't mind driving if it's worth it. I mean, if I'm that close, you figure I flew 6,000 miles, I can drive another 250. That's what I always tell people who come in, they'll come out to California and they're like, oh, come on down to LA. I flew it down to LA. And I'm like, well, just drive the other 300 miles to come see me. I would do that for you. Chris Wilson, Canadian $13.99. Riker fell in love with a person with no genitals. That's pretty diverse. Gary, why are people ignoring the history of Trek? Dax seemed to be pansexual and sexual transracial, way more diverse. Chris, that is a great point that I am going to bring up in my video, that they disrespected everything that came before with Star Trek, including Dax, and including even the doctor from Enterprise mentioned it. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. That show is not imprinted on my brain. I've only seen it once. Selena Kyle, who is formerly Captain Mary Sue SJW 499. High five, Gary. Thanks for the fun meetup last night. I forgot to mention the Nerd Chat Line SNL skit on YouTube and to ask you about possible NerdCon. I would be down for a fandom menace con. I think that would be a great idea. I would love to attend that, but no, I think the meetups are fine. These are great. I think an Orville convention is something we need to talk about. That is something we should make happen. Kermit the Log, $2. How much super chat to get you to watch 5-minute vid? You don't have to super chat me. Just if I have time, I'll have lots of time sitting around in an airport. Kermit Log, email it to me and I'll watch it. There, you don't have to super chat. Thanks for the $2 though. Mega Jetty 1 for $2. I DM'd you the Roadhouse info. Could email. Okay, that's even DM's fine. DM's fine. The thing that should not be for $10. Enterprise equals crap. It deserves to be called that because of the episode simulated where they cloned Trip to harvest clones' organs. It's the most moral evil episode of Star Trek and TV in general I have seen. Enterprise, this might be a controversial statement, but this is just my opinion. It's barely Star Trek. It got better as things went on, but it's barely Star Trek. It's another goddamn prequel. I was never a fan of Scott Bakula. It took me watching Discovery to appreciate Enterprise, and I've warmed up on it quite a bit. But I used to thoroughly dislike it. I couldn't get through an episode. I was like, oh God, that theme song and everything. It's just, no, it wasn't Star Trek to me. But now that I've seen Star Trek Discovery, I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't so bad. Maybe I was a little hard on it. Hero Chick. Oh, what's up, JJ? For $2. Call you or Arthur, LOL. Very disturbing. What's disturbing? Oh, well, everything. I can't read that first part there. It's so damn small. I'm sorry, JJ, if I screwed that up. I will read that again on Monday. But Hero Chick is awesome. Hero Chick used to work at my comics. I was lucky to have I had some crappy employees, but she was the best. And it's good to see you here. Vincent 396 for $1.99. What does your shirt say? Sorry, late to the party. Oh, it's okay. Let me make sure I can show it. Yeah. Mad props to Hero Chick, by the way. Hero Chick, are you going to go to the Silicon Valley Comic-Con? Because I'm going. So, yeah, there'll be a meetup in San Jose. I got press passes to that, too. So the shirt says Justice for Anas. This was made by the guys at the Popcast. They have a t-shirt company as well, and they whooped this thing up fast. They wouldn't let me pay for it, so I want to shout them out. Now, the Popcast is generally a positive site. They kind of just want to report on TV and do fun stuff, which is fine. That's fine. I'll do all the other heavy lifting. It's okay, guys. No, I'm just kidding. No, they did a great job. Thank you so much. So please subscribe to the Popcast. We will have those guys on very, very soon. Very, very soon. So that is the shirt. Destiny Captain, $1.99. Enterprise was a Braga joint, Gary, as was Voyager. Yeah, Braga, maybe he just fits better with the Orville. I don't know if I'm. Yeah, I'll let others report on what I heard because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. But we'll just say that Braga probably does better, not constricted by canon. There's some people who just can't do it. And guess what? Don't write for Star Trek. If canon is a problem, if respecting past material of this American, and world mythology, because it's not just Americans who love Star Trek. A lot of people, Australians love Star Trek. Star Trek's popular in the UK. Of course, Andre at Midnight's Edge loves people in Russia everybody loves Star Trek. But if you, don't write for it if that's too constricting for you. If you can't work your way around, which it is easy to do, what happens is writers want to fall into basic tropes. And you really can't do that with Star Trek, especially when it comes to, let's give them another bad father and a drug addiction and let's have somebody betraying somebody. No, you have to work around it. You have to use your talent to stay within the frame of something you were hired to write for and took the job. So, it's very millennial to want to take a job and then change everything as soon as you get there. Play the game before you want to change the rules. And if you want to change them that drastically, write your own shit. Don't write Star Trek. It's Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. You're just interpreting it. That is it. You are a steward. You don't own it. Alex Kurtzman thinks it's his Star Trek now. No, it's the people's Star Trek, and it's CBS's Star Trek. And if CBS wants to continue making money off of Star Trek, they should remember that it's the people's Star Trek. You know, it doesn't mean give them what they want every time, but I don't think anybody's asking for 100% adherence to everything. But, only 20, this 25% difference is it's evident everywhere. And, well, of course, there was the Klingons are going to remain looking the way they are. So it looks like they're going to remain lame Klingorks. I thought it was interesting. I showed this on one of my live streams. There was a picture of Laurel. They had all these banners there, and there's a picture of Laurel, and they darkened out her head so you can't see the back of her head. And that led me to believe that maybe we're going to get some changes. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see the new Worf if we ever see him someday. Probably not, I'm guessing. He'll be the one that's conspicuously absent. I don't know. Again, I'm holding off on a couple of things because I want to wait for tomorrow to happen to see if we actually hear any announcements for Star Trek Discovery. It's filming. We are going to get full episodes. We don't know how many, and we don't know when. I read an article today that's maybe I can read. Yeah, I can read this off to you guys. There's a very interesting statement in it. And this is from, oh God, who is it from? Audio Video Club, I think. And it was the way something was stated here. Let's see. No, I don't care about that. We want Picard 7. Okay, so they're talking about this. These were all announcements from the Critics Association by the CEO of CBS. So he was giving us an update on everything. And within this article, he said that Star Trek Picard will be more like Discovery than Next Generation in production. And those were his words, not mine. Then he talks about other productions, and he keeps not referring to Alex Kurtzman. He refers to Michelle Paradise. And then at the end, listen to this. I wish I could show it to you, but you'll see it in the video. Section 31 and Discovery Season 3. Alex Kurtzman has a deal with CBS All Access for more Star Trek spinoffs. One that was announced is a Section 31 series to star Michelle Yeoh's character from Star Trek Discovery. That series would have to come after Season 3 of Discovery. I just thought it was interesting. They said Alex Kurtzman has a deal. Michelle is in the season of Discovery, in Season 3 of Discovery. So Section 31 show would certainly be after that wraps. She could go on. She could go into production. McNamara said could. So we already had in my last video, one of the actors. I'm blanking on his name now. Ash talked about. How Section 31 is a couple years off. It sounds like they're tempering expectations again. As for Kurtzman's other spinoffs, not for CBS's spinoffs, Star Trek spinoffs. This article puts, as for Kurtzman's other spinoffs, the others, no timeline at this point. Star Trek Discovery is in production on Season 3. President and COO of CBS Interactive, Mark DeBevos didn't have a specific date, but expect to have some space between Picard and Discovery Season 3. Now, earlier in this article, he said to the Critics Association, we will have some Picard to present by January 2020, but that does not mean the series is coming out by then. So, yeah, that's a preview. That's probably a video when I get home. But good point, Destiny Captain. Sean C. By the way, backtrack. Destiny Captain, your avatar there. I saw somebody with a blazer with an insignia that looked. And yeah, I was thinking of you when I saw it. Sean C for $5. We have to be vocal about STD. Trek is always on shaky ground. Fans fight bad Trek because bad Trek eventually means no Trek. We are heading there. Oh yeah. This Trek bubble is going to burst when the streaming wars are over. They just have a bunch of money to spend, and obviously Amazon came in with something, and I think that's what I have no idea. That's just my guess. We'll see where Star Trek Discovery lands. It's Amazon or Netflix. It doesn't really matter. That's for international. We know it's on CBS All Access for us. So we will see. But those international, listen, what Star Trek Las Vegas is a great example of how CBS views fandom, views Star Trek fans. We just want the hardcore fans for the money. We are spending our time trying to get new fans in. This is something comic books have been guilty of for decades. This constant chasing the dragon of the new reader, of the new, of the new customer, instead of relying on your hardcore customers who've done this for years to help bring you in new fans. You can work together on this, but instead, what they do is they bring back Star Trek and put it behind a paywall. All right. So because they know they have that built-in fan base is going to pay for anything. And then we're going to completely change it to try to get new fans in, because that hardcore fan base is only there to fund the new Star Trek. And once that's funded, we don't need you anymore. And we're going to expand out to the normies, not realizing that Star Trek is not a normie show. Never has been, never will be. Just take a look at I'll do another live stream from the floor, and God bless them. These are nerds to the 10th degree, to the 1000th degree. These are ultimate nerds. These are not your garden variety nerds. These are Star Trek fans. And these are guys in their 60s and 70s in their Next Generation uniforms. And yes, this is the oldest convention I have ever seen. Ever. It is a bunch of old farts running around in Star Trek uniforms. And that's great, but there needs to be young people there too. So what they do is they announce everything at Star Trek at San Diego Comic-Con and at this critics thing, and they don't save anything for the actual Star Trek convention, which last year they announced Picard at. So they knew they were going to get your money. So, you know what? We'll do the announcements at San Diego. And, we got this fixed audience right here who we can gouge and gouge and gouge. Say what you want about San Diego Comic-Con. It's one of the best run Comic-Cons on the planet. Emerald City for a time was better. It's not anymore. And they don't gouge because it's nonprofit. So you pay thousands of dollars to get in. Then you have to pay $100 to get an autograph with Jonathan, or a picture with Jonathan Delancey. Not a picture and an autograph. If you want an autograph, that's separate. And with Shatner, it was $100 to get a picture, $100 to get an autograph, and $200 to get a picture on the bridge. Worth it. It's Shatner. Nobody else though. Wilson Cruz, $60. Wilson fucking Cruz. Oh, by the way, Wilson Cruz, after he made his statement about being Star Trek Discovery being the most diverse show, we need to steer away from we don't play into fear or anger. This is the guy who put up some of the nastiest tweets I've ever seen. So just go look at his record. He plays into a lot of fear and anger, and nobody's afraid of anything, by the way. Wilson, little Ricky, nobody's afraid of anything. We cringe at the cringe-worthy, and that's what all Star Trek Discovery is. The only thing I fear is permanently spraining my cringe muscle. Lori Wilson for $5. How many years before the SJW stuff in the media fades away and someone remakes our beloved movies and shows? I don't know. I'm going to get back to the other chats. I wanted to read that one. I don't know if we get back to that. I think it needs to be remade at this point. I think that's happening. I think one of the things that's happening that they're starting to notice now Because listen, Hollywood is the last to know everything. That's where trends go to die. They're starting to realize that we're just watching each other now, and we're finding it more entertaining. I'll just use my kids and myself as an example, and people I interact with. Yeah, I YouTube, but I watch other YouTubers. That's my preference. I would rather go watch a Midnight's Edge After Dark live stream, or a Mecha live stream, or a Doomcock live stream, or a Bulls Trek video, or anybody in the Fandom Menace over any TV show on net. I don't watch network TV shows anymore now that the Orville's done. I watch live streams. It's right there. I talk to people who cord cut and just watch YouTube. We're their biggest sucking. Who knows? Who knows? Well, there's plenty of old entertainment I could talk about forever. Talk about Migos when things settle down. And me and 5 people will talk about Migos. Okay, let me get caught up here again. Sean C., thank you very much for the $5, and we need to fight. Yes, that is something that was brought up by somebody who pulled me aside today. By the way, yeah, I know what it's like to be Jeremy now. I a little bit. Been stopped a lot. It's been cool as hell, and a lot of positive interaction. And a lot of people want to hold out hope for Star Trek Discovery, but somebody said today, it's like, listen, I want to. I think it was Chris who said this. He said, I want to support Star Trek, but I don't want to enable Star Trek. And if you're supporting something you don't like just because it says Star Trek on it, you're enabling it. And you're making it worse. I will tell you right now that no Star Trek is better than what we're getting now, because this will permanently damage it. Like Enterprise, whatever it was, did not permanently damage Star Trek. It ended the franchise, but because they did a prequel. They did a goddamn prequel. I mean, how many times you got to tell people not to do prequels? People aren't into them. We like our, especially people who are into world building and lore. We like our stories to move forward. Let's you know what? Pay close attention. You don't have to watch it. Just pay close attention to how this Game of Thrones prequel does. Considering what I've heard of it, Downton Abbey in Westeros, with the origins of the Night King that couldn't make it off his front lawn, and he got killed by the blade of an assassin. For F's sake, mate, this is BS. That you get demonetized on every vid. They F with your streaming. Are they trying? Are they just trying heaps hard to not pay out? Another would say Google can eat bags of D's. Yes, it certainly feels like that the last few days. Tyrone Beard, thank you for the Australian $10. I am not. Listen, I'm not big on victimhood. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. It might be the transition. They might be demonetizing every live stream right now. I don't know. But yeah. So Zinton Watts for $4.99. Let me, before I say this, let me make something clear. When we do live streams on, especially from live events, when I'm on my phone, I can't see everything. I just can't. So just know that I do make up live streams where super chat does not get missed, and we have about 3 or 4 videos that I have to make up for. So I announced that earlier in the live stream that on my next Nerdrotic Nooner, I will be covering the super chats from Nerdrotic Live and the meetup last night. Yeah, it was, and the stream died on me, so there wasn't a lot I could do. Missed 2 super chats, one on the short live stream, second tonight at 12:03. My luck is worse than my optimism for Hollywood. Doctor Who going to HBO Max? I haven't heard anything about that. All right. Yeah, and also Zinton, if I miss one, wait till the show's over. I usually go back. So sometimes I do them out of order because it jumps on me. So Yeah, super chats don't show up in order all the time. And sometimes you have to reverse back. So sometimes just wait. Sometimes just wait before you do the put on blast. But thank you. Thank you for the $4.99. Lori Wilson, thank you again for the $5. Jeff McKelvey for $10. Thanks for all the great info, Gary. Was beautiful Nichelle Nichols there? Yes, I walked right by her. I was 3 feet away from her. She looked great. She looked like she was all, I hate to say it, she looked like she was all there. I was questioning, listen, this is Hollywood. So people take advantage of elderly people here all the time. It is the home of elderly abuse and child abuse. So, I think it's something worthy of questioning, but she looked great. And it was great to just be near her and see her. The real groundbreaking person from Star Trek. But Wilson Cruz, let little Ricky think what he wants to think. Without respect, we reject. Contact me anytime if you still want the Enterprise model, brother. Safe travels with the fam. Thank you. And yes, I do. I will contact you when I get back. It's just been a lot of traveling lately. I was only home for a few days in between. So Trek will crash with P-Card on season 3 of STD. Says Mike Brown for $2. It might. Looks like we're going to get a season 2 of Star Trek Picard, though. I think that's guaranteed. And I think it'll be a quick turnaround. Just saying. Thank you, Mike Brown. JPRPH1 for $9.99. Just wanted to say hey and thank you for the streams from there. Loved the live stream so far. Enjoy some coffee with us. Thank you very much, JPRPH1 for $9.99. Thank you. Sven Eriksson for 50 Norwegian crowns. Love your short vids. First time joining live. 50 years. Nope. You look 30s-ish. Well, wow. And gives me a super chat. Then I get that. You're my favorite, Sven. Thank you. I feel effing 70 right now. All right. So let's get back up here. And there's a couple that we need to get back to. Where did it go? Cracklin. Okay. It did jump on me big time. We're going to go back up here. Mike Brown for $2. I'd pay money to see Trekker punch Kurtzman. Anti-Trekker? He's a peaceful man. I think he's a good Christian. Some Trekker, there are some there who would think about metaphorically punching him. We'll just say that. Nick Pruitt for $5. STD is the least diverse Star Trek show in the history based on the personality lack thereof, which I read. Thank you very much. Thank you for the $5. And that's still true. That hasn't changed. Michael Maloney for $5. It doesn't look half bad, but just why? Why for Picard? Money. They needed to save the franchise. That Star Trek, if Star Trek Discovery was a success, why bring back Picard? It honestly doesn't move anything forward. You're bringing back a guy who's old, so you're very limited on, you can't do 10 seasons of Picard. Let's just be real. That's not happening. You can't get 7 seasons out of Picard. So you backed up the bricks truck. You're filming in LA to get Picard because you needed people subscribing to your service. And this is going to work. Unfortunately, Star Trek Discovery didn't work. Because if it did, they would just focus on Star Trek Discovery. You would have one show. Why would you want to jump out of the gate after Star Trek being gone for so long and then throw out a bunch of shows? Focus on one, make it good, get some products going, get some licensing. Oh, I saw some Star Trek licensing. I saw a bunch of tchotchkes that can be made, artisanal tchotchkes that you can make just at the little backpacks, cup holders, pins. That's it. Etsy shit. Oh, there we go. Cracklin for $4.99. I'll monetize you. Any talk on focusing on storyline rather than ramping up identity politics? Any hope of all from what you've seen at the conventions? No. That's all they talked about. That's all Kate Mulgrew talked about. That's all the doctors talked about. That's all Wilson Cruz talked about. Nobody talked about story. Okay, great. There's gay people in Star Trek now. You know what? Make everybody gay. Everybody's gay. It's gay Star Trek. Okay, so how's the story? Oh, well, we don't need a story. We made it gay. So all the gay people will automatically love it because they see themselves. And they'll just make up their own stories, maybe. I don't know. Well, okay. Where is the mid-50s former crank addict, meth addict? It was called crank back then. Meth addict representation. I don't see myself in Star Trek, so it's denying my existence as a human being. I feel offended that the person who I've never met, who is making up a fictional show about make-believe stuff, isn't thinking about me. So disrespectful, so not stunning, so not brave. And I'm stunning and brave for bringing that up. How dare they? Mr. Watts or Mrs. Watts, I don't know. Watts, I just assumed your gender. Man, fire me right now. $4.99. Z is silent. Just pronounce Quentin. Okay. Watts, I just assumed your gender. Man, fire me right now. $4.99. Z is silent. Just pronounce Quentin. Okay. Redondo, like Tarantino, 2 months before Pulp Fiction came out. Coincidence is strong with the Force. Sometimes it is, but I don't believe in them. Maybe there's a reason. Why the Z, though? I got to ask that, Quentin. Why the Z? It doesn't make sense. Quintin? The silent Z. Maybe that's how it's always spelled. I've never seen it spelled. How unique. All right. Get into the chat. There we go. Should I assume every comic book store owner is on meth? Cool creeps go through life. No. Gary, please review Blake's 7. I have somebody the DVDs that I'm going to do that probably in September. I actually can't wait to see that. I'll probably love it. Lebowski Thor is my idol, says Kronos. I've grown to not like that. You can't spell Gary. With first time I've ever heard that in 50 years. I have never heard that. Or Barry Geekler. That's what they used to call me in school. It's like, you just got to roll with it. When you have a name like Beekler, you know, and especially Gary. Yeah, everybody named Gary in Hollywood is lame. It just is. It's unfortunate, but that's okay. We'll bring some respect back to Gary. This is the no shill zone. You goddamn right. Just because I've talked to some people, that's not going to change anything. R.I.P. Gary Jules. Gary, you should go review good Star Trek other than Gary, you should review good Star Trek or other good sci-fi like B5 and BSG. Small Yoda 3, I will. And I have. But there isn't anything good out right now. So once it's good, once something new comes out that's good, I will review it. The last good thing I reviewed was Good Omens. Good Omens. And I just thinking about this. It's getting worse. And if nobody talks about it, if we just talk about good, nice stuff all the time, then nothing changes. That's that enabling. We can be in denial. We can appease. And that's what's going on, is a lot of appeasement is going on in entertainment right now, because this is a huge power play done by very superficial people who it's not one I want to hear life views from. It's not, I mean, I just don't. I'm sorry, you are raised in Hollywood. You are in that culture. It is skewed. Sorry. I hate to report that to any creative in Hollywood, but people don't normally live like you do. We don't get, our ass is kissed 24 hours a day. We don't get driven everywhere. We don't fly all over the world for climate change conferences, burning more fuel than the average human does in a lifetime, Leo. So no, we don't see things the same way. So we would like it very much if you would shut the hell up, basically. Just like I won't tell you how to vote. I think it'll be really funny. I think they've done this when we have, right around election time, we're going to get some freaking cringeworthy, patronizing, just horrible video of a bunch of actors in white t-shirts holding up cards going, it's time, it's time, repeating themselves and then telling us how to vote and then going off and doing a bunch of coke on a yacht. Yeah, okay, thanks. I really didn't need to hear that. And there have been parodies of that, and there needs to be more. Every time one of those is made, I want it me. But they hate they do. And the competition isn't me. It's not Tom and Mecca. It's you guys. It's you guys, because the fans do have a voice now, and that freaks them the hell out. A little preview of my next video is the Game of Thrones petition. It worked perfectly. Like it worked perfectly. It did everything it was intended to do. No, nobody thought they were going to actually remake Game of Thrones season 8 and bring everybody back together and spend hundreds of millions of dollars to find new writers and, kick Dan and Dave to the dirt and wait 2 more years and actually fix it, because you'd have to remake season 7 and season 8. But why did the petition work? Because the creatives won't stop talking about it. Like I've moved past it. Most of us have moved past it. We signed it, we vented, we said our piece, we moved on. There's other fish to fry. But they are still writing articles on it. They dominated the conversation at San Diego Comic-Con, and it worked perfectly. And it sticks in their head now. And now, anytime somebody goes and makes a show, what's in the back of their head? I don't want to pull another Game of Thrones. It's not Jumping the Shark anymore. It's a Game of Thrones, and that's its legacy. It's not one time it was going to be known as the most ambitious television show ever made that bit the dust, that ate crap at the end. You always got to put that little thing at the end. They didn't land it, and that's what it's known for. It's what have you done for me lately, and how did you finish? It didn't finish good. And now the creatives have that petition back in their mind, and that's what bothers the actors the most. The creatives, Dan and Dave, quit Comic-Con the day of, leave all the actors at that panel, and what gets talked about? The petition. They just interviewed Masande for some movie. What did she talk about? The petition. What did Sophie Turner talk about? The petition. And then she turned on fans, and then her movie flopped right after that. I wonder if that had anything to do with it. I'm sure it was a factor. So well done. Whoever started the petition, I don't know if you intended it to do this, but it was the most successful entertainment petition of all time, because it's stuck in their head and they can't stop thinking about it. It's a win for the fans. So rock on. Take your victory lap. You won. You won on that one. And they will not forget it. JP, okay. Hi, JPRPH1. I'm going to say hello again. Sven Eriksson for 50 Norwegian crowns. What is your take on DS9? I loved it, especially Dax and Worf. DS9 is my second favorite Star Trek show now. To Star Trek. I'm guilty of saying it once in a while, but I said it in a tweet. There is no original series. There is Star Trek. Then there's Star Trek: The Next Generation. That's it. No more TOS. It's my second favorite show. It didn't start out that way. Things evolve, and it's the one I find the most rewatchable. I rewatch most of them. I'm in pieces, though. I can't say it's not as obsessive as Doctor Who. I have to watch in order. So I'll start it where I can, go all the way through, and restart. With Star Trek, whatever I feel like watching. Not anymore. But thank you for the 50 Norwegian crowns, Sven. Matt Joseph for $5. It was announced a few days ago that HBO Max will be the exclusive streaming platform for Doctor Who from 2005 on. Another blow to consumers. Whoa, really? It's leaving Amazon? You know, I've always thought it was weird that there is a connection. Somebody will have to explain this to me, between the BBC and Warner Brothers. It's always been there, because Torchwood, well, no, that was on Showtime. That wasn't on HBO. But there's always been a weird connection. I don't know why. That's odd. That's odd. That's terrible. It was two things. It was Netflix, David Tennant. When they started putting it on Netflix, that's when it started getting really popular in the States. That's when it had the most access. People could catch up on everything. The beauty of Doctor Who is it wasn't 25 episode seasons. It was just short 13 episode seasons. People burned through it. And all of a sudden, it's the most popular thing in nerddom for a few years. And it just so happened to happen right at the 50th anniversary. But it had everything to do with Tenet and Netflix. Matt Smith did his part too, but it was Tenet and Netflix. Then more people got into the classic episodes. You made a ton of fans from that. And what did they decide to do? Agenda came first. So they found it. It was more important to the BBC to be able to show off to the access media. We recast the show with movement. So the movement matters more than making money. And this is happening in Hollywood, and it's destroying entertainment. And there will be a point of no return on this, by the way, if they don't stop. There's always been a balance. They've always been able to get away with a lot because, fine, because it wasn't that bad. But they dialed it up, and I don't know if they can dial it back. I don't know if they're capable. We'll have to see. It might take time. But thank you, Matt Joseph, for the news. That's goodbye, Doctor Who. HBO Max is not something people are going to run to because it's just going to sound like HBO. Doesn't sound like Warner Brothers or anything. And it's just another streaming service, another Johnny-come-lately streaming service. That'll probably do okay. But remember, all of these streaming services, what they're built on is to be Netflix. To have hundreds of millions of subscribers worldwide. Well, maybe HBO Max might have international distribution. I don't know this for a fact. If they do, then they have a leg up on a lot of people. But if they don't, it's the same problem Star Trek Discovery has. You know what? I can watch Star Trek on Netflix right now. And it looks like I'll be watching Star Trek on Netflix for quite some time. So why in the hell would you need CBS All Access just for Star Trek Discovery? Well, I can watch Star Trek without the taint of Discovery on Netflix. It's very nice. Or I just watch it on my physical media. Tyrone Beard for Australian $2. Hail, Gary. TOS had gay actors, not characters, though. Yes, they did. And what you can assume, Tyrone, is they probably did have gay people on the ship. They just didn't talk about. I'm trying to figure out how to say his name. Unserm for £5. Did you note that Wilson also failed to mention Dr. Bashir's mixed background? Great to meet you today. Chris, there's Chris right there. Yes, Dr. Bashir's mixed background was brought up, and it was great to meet you too, Chris. I was mentioning you earlier in the stream. It's good to see you, my friend. Andreas Ali, is it ALL? Sorry, I can't see it. Andreas Ahalin for £2. Have you seen Farscape? If so, did you like it? Yes. I was a late comer to Farscape. I freaking love it. I love every minute of it. I think it's damn near perfect. The reason I didn't watch it before was the puppets, I'll be honest with you. But once you watch it, and especially if you're a Doctor Who fan, It's perfect for Doctor Who fans, especially of the Tennant era, because it almost occupies the same universe. It really does. Eric K for $. Gary, I disagree. Gary Oldman, Gary Sinise, all good. Yeah, actors' names, but not characters' names. I agree with you, Eric K. But not character names. No, there's some damn characters' names. I agree with you, Eric K. But not character names. No, there's some damn. Listen, I'm named after one of those people. Gary Cooper, right there. Quentin Watts, apologies. Didn't mean to put you on blast. Got a little excited with the super chats. Anyways, appreciate everything you do. Safe travels, SoCal born and semi-raised. Also, what's semi-raised? Oh, I get it. Also, I'm definitely a guy. What's WFYB? Help me. I'm Boomer. I'm definitely a guy. What the? Okay, got you. I got it. Gary, do not forget Star Trek and Next Generation had the binaries. Yeah, Star Trek had all this stuff before. That's why Wilson said it was fucking stupid. It was, but it shows that he mentioned DS. She admits she hasn't watched. She was pontificating about your show, the Wilson Cruises, the Kate Mulgrews calling Gene Roddenberry a misogynist, and she hasn't watched every episode of Star Trek. Star Trek misogynist without watching every episode of Star Trek. You got to realize you, the fan, care way more about this show than any of those fools on stage, any of those fools in the any creatives. I think the only one who actually does truly give a shit is William Shatner. I believe William Shatner's probably watched all of his own episodes at least. He's written books. Shatner's a Star Trek fan. Now, I'm not asking every one of these actors to be a Star Trek fan. As a matter of fact, I bet you most of them haven't even watched their own episodes. It's just a job to them, and that's fine. But don't start coming to the fandom going to a Star Trek convention, and at the end of her fracking speech, she talks about rise up. Rise up against what? Like she's freaking Kate Guevara up there. Kate Guevara, that's right. Up there talking about rising up. Rise up, everybody. And everybody's like, yeah. Rise up against Kurtzman? Okay, sure. She called it millennial Trek. Those weren't her exact words, but that's what she said. It was pretty funny. Demonic Bioman. When we saw Cruz's butt shot, we saw the best side. Right. Oh, we did. Back to the chat. Back to the chat. Brent Spiner told R&B he's never watched any of TNG. Yeah, but he'll go and ask that money. I can't get my head around that. I really can't get. I mean, great. That's fine. You know what? Fuck it. I'll say something mean. I don't care. What has he got to talk about besides TNG? What really bad performance in Independence Day and a band? I love it when actors try to do something, try to be, they always get in bands. And what did he do? Have some piano player, and he told stories about what? I mean, I like Brent. He was a nice guy. I met him at San Francisco. But, dude, watch an episode of TNG for your fans. There's got to be – listen, you're rich. You can watch stuff in the shower, I bet. Just watch a little bit here and there for the fans. But to kill you? That'd be a meanie. I know. But yeah, let's go listen to Brent Spiner spin some stories, anecdotal stories about his life as a character actor. I'm sure it's fascinating. Well, I did talk to one person. I got to really thank Jesse